this too shall pass, especially when expressed. Same thing with grief. It feels like it's not going to pass. This sense of loss is something that is good is not necessarily pleasurable. Something that is pleasurable is not necessarily good. It absolutely is not pleasurable to do these self-assessments, and definitely not when it comes to grief. But it's still there. Just because it's not pleasurable doesn't mean it's not good.
Welcome to Aloha Speaks, home of Malama Aloha Pono with Alexander Noman.
Aloha, Alex here. And this topic, grief is big business, was inspired by two recent events. I mean, really recent. And in the parentheses, I have the word grievance / blame, because that word grievance is really closely related to this word grief. Both are big business, both, in different ways. But in red, just below that, before I get to my notes, there's just sometimes this red line, is the word enabling - the word loss, because that word loss is the common denominator between grief and grievance. Without loss, those would not exist. And after the word loss, there's an equal, and the word equals justification. And that's tied together with enabling. There's so much here because of these events. Originally, I was going to do a video on self-medicating. The very last word in my notes is in quotes. It says drink. And the reason it's in quotes is because it's whatever the drink might be, because my drink might be going back into an unhealthy relationship. It might be going to day trading on the computer. It might be sugar. It might be potato chips. It might be drugs. It might be, it could be whatever. Cigarettes. Whatever. Sex. Whatever it might. So, drink. It's the justification for that drink. It's the same difference. So now I'm going back to the beginning here. It's the same difference as anger. But anger doesn't get so much of the enabling. It doesn't get so much of the pass that grief is given. Usually, except for me. Because of the inventories, the number ongoing. I don't know how many. Could it be? Well, I know it's hundreds, absolutely hundreds. It could be into the thousands. I haven't counted. Lots and lots of inventories, or self-assessments. In Malama Aloha Pono, it's called self-assessments in segment 3. Other platforms, it's called something else. I was with one of the events that inspired this was the yesterday, my friend for 40 years, my best friend, he's a doctor, was away on the mainland for months, and he came back and we got together, and it was so great to see him. We both have been moving in the direction, he's a normie, except he admits certain aspects of addiction as well, but we've both been moving in the direction of being the best we can be. So we don't sugarcoat, we don't co-sign each other's BS. And we were talking about, we were getting deeper and deeper, and agreed relationships are either behind expressions of addiction and or pay for expressions of addiction. Not getting into any further than that. And there was some truth-telling. And then turn around, and following that, I'm privy to, because I do a lot of other work, and privy to a discussion with quite a few, I would say over 20 people discussing grief issues and acknowledging the sense of loss. Of course, how that generates the feelings, and it needs to be felt. I agree, absolutely. Just like I agree, when feeling anger, it needs to be felt, not stuffed. There's a healthy way to express anger, and from where I have learned and where I'm coming from, never aimed at the person I'm angry with. There are exercises, I have tools, I'm not getting into that. There are ways to express anger that never are aimed and still get it out. And people know that, hit the bag, tennis racket, all different ways. Yell, scream, whatever. Not at the person. And it passes. This too shall pass. It feels like it's not going to pass, but it does, especially when expressed. Same thing with grief. It feels like it's not going to pass. This sense of loss, but there's more to it. When I was listening to these people, and I wasn't in a position to participate, but I'm listening and listening, and I know all these they are all from the healing realm, even if they were from different formats, all knowing of the inventory or self-assessment aspect, and not even one talked about that when it came to grief. And I'm going, I remember of a quote. I'm not saying a quote, but it's something that I heard many times Prem Rawat over the years talk about. I have said about premrawat.com in regards to the Peak course that he offers, the Peace, Education, and Knowledge. But he has many videos on there that are accessible. And one of the things that he has shared about is that something that is good is not necessarily pleasurable. Something that is pleasurable is not necessarily good. And he's talking about something that was written thousands and thousands of years ago. So maybe this is not necessarily new, but I'm saying where I heard this from, and I'm completely going, yes, absolutely. And I'm relating it to this situation because it absolutely is not pleasurable to do these self-assessments, and definitely not when it comes to grief. But it's still there. Just because it's not pleasurable doesn't mean it's not good. And when I do it, it's so revealing, because it's this loss is what's behind it. And this grievance, when it goes to grievance, because grievance, the difference was that it's a cause for complaint. Grief is intense sorrow. That's the definition. Or suffering. That's grief behind the loss. The grievance is cause for complaint. So there's blame. I'm blaming. And that's where there is the lie going on, and yet there's so much money made in that realm on so many levels. And in the realm of grief, in therapy, and I'm totally 100% therapy, yes, but look at all that. What about doing the inventory after, yes, have the feeling, after it passes, answer those questions. Where am I being selfish? Because this loss, what it's about is the same as anger. It's same as anger. It's not going my way. That's what's happening. Where am I selfish? Where am I dishonest? There's something happening because I'm so intensely emotionally thrown off balance. Get honest with myself. What is it? Answer that question, because only I can. How is my pride affected? Where am I self-seeking? And the fourth, where am I frightened? That question, that fourth question, how is that fear just, because that right there is huge, and I can answer that. I do every single time I answer that. Reveals so much, so that when I do answer that fifth question, all that being answered, it's easy to say, where am I to blame for this grief? Where am I to blame for this grief? Not the loss that I lost. I'm blaming, that loss is to blame for me feeling so sad. It's self-pity. It's the same. It's self-pity. It's all illusion. I'm concocting something. Sure, have the feeling, but then get real, so that I can sever the power it has over me and get on with, and I have the word freedom here. But you see, it's freedom not attained. It's the freedom I have been gifted already, that is my breath, that is here already, unattached, detached from this insanity that I'm generating. Until next time, it's freedom. Aloha.